I'm fucking sleepy. Putang ina. Shut up, putang ina. What? What do you mean you heard that? What? Can you guys hear me? What? What? What's cough? What? What the the fuck? Wait, why do I have my microphone on in this fucking... I fucking hate all of you. I'm muted as hell. There's only two states that you can be in: muted or unmuted. There's no intensity. Hi, hello. How you guys doing? Oh my god. Hi, Akra. Fuck you, Akra. Shucks. Koga. It's not scuff as usual. We didn't have scuff yesterday. Hello. End of the week. End of the day. Pro streamer, for real, for real. See, Sakura gets it. Sakura, thank you for the follow. See? You have to suck up to me the moment you come into chat. And shit. Anyway, hi. We're gonna be playing web fishing today. I don't know if you've ever heard of the game, but I kind of like it. You know, I'm just a little bit, just a tiny bit, maybe. I hope the music. I hope the band isn't too loud. And speaking of which, if you guys want to join, I send. Are they too loud? I knew they were too loud. Who complained yesterday that the music was too quiet? No, last week. Let me bring them down a bit. There we go. How do I make sure it stays on? Unpin after, manually unpinned, or end of the stream. There we go. There we go. Scuff muted. I'm not still muted, am I? Y'all are making me fucking y'all making me. Wait, I hear it. It's so low. Wait, I hear it. I hear it. I hear it. It's just really quiet. The music is so loud. That's the thing. Hold on. Hold on. Wait, what did I catch? Hold on, hold on, hold on. It's not scuff. It's not scuff if it's fixable. I think? Wait. I hear it! My OBS volume is extremely low. That's on me. You guys probably. Oh! It is. It is. Who said that? Sakura, based. Based. It is not wasting your precious gold. Anong precious gold? We have gold in abundance here. Anyway, you guys can join. It's an unlisted server if you have web fishing, and if not, then that's okay. That's okay. Just sit back and relax. Take the day. What? What? Pepper it? What'd you say? I got PTSD from the first part of your sentence, but I don't know what the hell you said in the second. Alright. Alright, guys, let's do the ultimate test. Let's do the ultimate test. You remember when my stream crashed the last time? Well, I have my aircon on. And it crashed when I had my VTuber lighting on. Let's try it out. Oh god. Yeah, this early. Okay. 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 Oh, you know what would be cool? I do have mods on. I did download a new mod. What? Why not in London? Sir, are you okay? Shocks, are you okay? Why do you look like that? I'm not gonna question it. I do have auto fishing on. I've been spoiled with it. I'm gonna keep it on. It's much easier to stream with that shit. I try to do the Family Guy joke. Oh, I'm too young for that. I've never. The only time I watch Family Guy is when it's in the background of a YouTube short. Oh no, my joke is on point. Okay. You're telling yourself that. Is the game free or does it cost money? It is quite cheap. Over here, it is like one burger. Legitimately. Over here, it's like 178 pesos. Wallet Stray, hi. How you doing? I'll go and check Steam, like to get a concrete answer for you. Come on, Steam. Web fishing. It is. Oh, I'm very close. 174.95 pesos. But burger? I'll buy you a burger. If it means you guys get to play with me. I would. I wish I could. Damn. I have no money, so I can only watch. Oh, no worries. No worries. There's no hierarchy in terms of viewership. As long as you're here, that's what counts. The music is so loud to me. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Holy shit. Anyway, we're just gonna chill. Oh my god, what the fuck? Oh. He shat in the water. Let me get a good angle here. There we go. Yeah, you can have it. I don't really... I don't grind this game anymore. I'm in that stage where I'm like, oh, let's just sit back. Kick back and relax. Have funny animal fish game in the background. Aircraft says, I guess it depends on if it's a burger from McDonald's or a gourmet. What fancy ass restaurant are you going to that has a gourmet burger? What does it have? Like 12 layers of gold? Quite the price difference. What does a gourmet burger cost? Putang ina, 235 pesos from Brothers Burger. Oh my god. Oh, there's literally a restaurant on Facebook called Gourmet Burger. Goddamn. 380? So sorry, sir. 380? Putang ina, 500? Oh my god. No. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, no. No. Ew, would you eat a burger that doesn't have 12 layers of gold? You have a point. You have a point. I apologize for my hubris. 380. Totoo yan. That's true. I don't know what the shit this is. I just realized I have I did not turn on my my Discord notifs. Let me go and fix that. Tangina, 580 for a burger. Just eat the floor. Oh what? Shots disappear. Alrighty. Fish so hard my game exploded. Are you good? That's not the first time your shit has not gone as planned. Close to stream time. Category, let's go web fishing. Let's go gambling. Oh, dang it. Does that mean you don't have notifs on? Be honest. I have notifs on and I ignore every single one. Even if it's shy. No, if it's shy Lily, I press. But every single one. I get like 12 a day for all the streamers, but they all stream at like 4 a.m. in the morning. So it's kind of depressing getting a shit ton of Twitch notifs in the middle of working late. Oh, Sharks is back. Let's go. So why am I so... Why can I not reach the screen? There we go. Let me sit up. There we go. In my avatar, not in real life. I can reach my screen. Wow! What? Damn. God bless the AFK mods. They go by so fast. I mean my avatar. I can reach my screen in real life. Trust. Alright, let me go turn on my Discord notifs. Update channel. For those curious, I use notify me .bot. Although I don't know who that would appeal to other than the people of my niche. God, anyway, hi. Gosh, this is the second stream that I've ever done without, like, meticulously planning on what to say. I just press start streaming. Fuck it, let's go, no balls. But I like our web fishing streams. They're very chill. They're very laid back. Especially when I have a mod that lets me cheat. Speaking of... Oh, fuck. No, I want to turn pixelization on. Alright, well that's doing its thing. I have to manually alert the server once more. Hold on, give me a second. Oh, you guys can't hear my keyboard. That's no fun. There we go. Yeah, we do this. Shock says, oh yeah, I streamed for the first time in forever and it was a mess. And I missed it? Shock says, one of my VTuber friends really liked your model's design. What the fuck are they doing looking at me? I should be hyping you up. I never understand. I mean, obviously I put a lot of work into my avatar, but I put a lot of work in the normal human mode with normal proportions. Like 80% of the design on the normal proportions, the version of me. The chibi one, like 20%, probably less. So when people say, oh, your design's really nice, like, there's so much more that I want to show you. What do you mean nice? I love more than this. I'm sorry, I can't take a compliment. Thank you. Please say thank you to your friend. I appreciate it. What the fuck is my code? BCWY3B. Join now. BCWY3B. Alright, what kind of screenshot can we take here? What can we do? Wait, let me disappear for a bit. Oh, like I never left. Oh, it was because I was working in Blockbench. Oh, okay. When it comes to your rendition of my design, deserves all the praise. Absolutely. What's the normal one? Wait, Akraf, you haven't seen it? Hold on. Fuck. I have my iPad. Oh hi. Hold on. Wait, so much is happening. So much I gotta do. Hold on. Let me announce in the Discord first, and then I'll show you my full model. Yes, hi, Shocks. I forgot to turn on Discord notif, so hi, we webfishing code. Okay, I'm supposed to take a screenshot. Okay. What can we do here? Let's make the background plain. And then like, what can we do? Wait. Idea. Tapos, I'm here. Can I like fish myself? No, I make this look good. Wait, I have an idea. Let me cook. Hold on. I just need to catch something. Fuck! I need to catch something. And then I need to hold up the fish. And I'm gonna move my model so I'm holding myself up. Yes. Okay. Cast. Let's cast. And let's catch a fish. All of my AFK shit is off. Alright. Well, only 4 alphas? Really? Damn! Congrats! Alright, here we go. Oh fuck, it's not auto-click. Alright. Wait! No! I fucked it up! I already forgot! Wait! You know what? God damn it. Sakura, I did not hear your text-to-speech. Sayang? Wait, did that not go through? Puta. Hold on, we must fix this. Oh, there it is. What the fuck? I heard it really fast. Oh, Sakura. Just to let you it must be a case of you need a sufficient amount of gold. It's the currency that we used before I was Twitch affiliate. You earn, I think you earn 10 gold every 10 minutes. Apologies, you went through the trouble of trying to spam me with B-movie. Oh my god, this is probably the second calmest stream I've ever had. Let's fucking go. What was I doing? Holy shit. Oh yeah, taking a screenshot. Screenshot. Okay, I gotta fish for something first. What is wrong with sharks? Okay, now I gotta hold it up. And then, okay. Okay, think. And then I go then I go. Yeah! Can I zoom in? I can't zoom in. Fuck. Wait. When in doubt, we innovate. We innovate. Yeah. Yeah. Shit. Okay, wait. Perfect. I used to get so scared whenever I would announce in the Discord. Before we had the stream notives tag. Because it had that like, oh, are you sure you want to tag of like over 50 people? You think people are gonna care? You think, are you sure? Are you sure? Fuck Discord for making their alerts sound so condescending. Are you sure? Are you sure about this? Unangina. That's a good thumbnail, thank you. Why was your message blocked? Tell the message for using channel blocked term. Oh! Cause you said nail. Cause toes. Cause I banned all words relating to toes. Cause people kept saying toe lapia. Alright, I'll allow it. My bad. Anyway, how you guys doing? I forgot to do an intro and everything. This is a very unorthodox stream. Huh. Alright. Let's revert. I've just been rotting all day. Is that okay to say? Is that okay for me to admit? I haven't done shit. I just rotted because I've been fucking exhausted. Maybe it is. Maybe that's perfectly fine. Where did... Oh, there he is. Wow, this is pretty. We like... How do I meow? Yeah. Fuck yeah. Furry shit. I should actually check on, like, the progress of how much progress I've made in the game. I've been AFKing so much, I don't even know. Let's see. I am rank 40. Holy shit, $69, let's go. Rank 40, 96. Wait, no. 96 in most categories? Hold on, let me check. Hi Milds, by the way. Oh wait, Shanks, you said something. New bait type catches alpha fish like nothing. I think I'm using it. I don't know why I'm head bopping like this. It suits your fedora. No, that's not a fedora. What is that? Suits your cowboy hat. Chuck says, did you get the new bait type fish woman? I think I did. Is this the new bait type? Wait, how do I go find it? How do I find it? How do I find it? How do I... Gotta know how to play this game. Yeah, Nautilus is perfect. I have so much fish. I don't? What do you mean? Let me check. Ain't no way. Oh, Mills got an emo. Congrats. Oh, what? Gilded worm. Huh. What? Gilded worm. 35 grand. Are there new, like, cosmetics? Maybe? 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 Is this... Was there always a tank top? I don't remember that. No, I think it's pretty much the same. Oh, there's lighting in here. Nice. Alright, while we're here, I want some pixelization. Yeah, I love them. Also, your capture is still zoomed in. Is it actually? You're right. You're right. Hi, Fiery Mudkib. I think you like Pokemon. I almost used Pokemon music earlier, but I was afraid. I was a coward. Thank you for letting me know, Shucks. Oh my god, I can't tell if this is amazing and aesthetic or if it hurts my eyes. Jesus. Hold on. I know a way we can find out. Let's turn this off. And then let's go on VTube Studio. And and where is it? Come on, I haven't used these effects in so long. Lens distortion, edge detection, outline poster. Where is it? There we go. Trust me. Wait, it doesn't work. What? Oh, because all effects are turned off. That's why. Okay. Active. Oh, that's the wrong one. Select. Off. Custom particle effects. Off. Pixel effect. Why am I red? Oh my god! Shit! There we go. That should be fine. Right? Wait. Yay! I fit in. I like it. Alright. I'm just fiddling around. Okay, okay. There we go. I'm happy with that. I hope this doesn't hurt anyone's eyes. I just think this is cool. I'm webfisher. Why did I stop? What? Why did I stop? Oh, I don't have any bait. We can fix that. What if it's because I don't have any money? I don't have any money, that's why. It looks good. Okay, yay. Oh my god, I got 17 grand instantly. increase max bait from 25 to 30. Whoa. I forgot buckets were a thing. I forgot everything, dude. I'm way past my... I'm kind of past my web fishing craze. Thank you for the follow. Head empty, no thigh. Thank you. How you doing? I'm gonna leave my shit here. Oh, wait, I can do that too, can I? There we go. More or less. Fuck. Oh. That's a good angle. There we go. What the fuck? What? I should probably stop. How do I... Am I just... I'm stunk. Well, okay. I don't know! What the fuck? Okay. Can I just fish like this? No. Oh, thank you. Now I can move! What the fuck? I'm pressing R. Wait, mods. Where is ragdoll? Yeah. Where is it? No flirting, I'm a fish. That's bestiality. What if I'm into that? I invert your skeleton. You gotta reset? No. No, I don't. I do. Sorry, shucks. Alright. How do I reset? Do I just leave? Show Navigo settings. Fish? What fish are ya? Specifically, bakunawa. Or tilapia kung gusto mo, if you want. If you want. I'm sorry, sardine. But my model's based on the sea dragon myth of the Philippines. I feel like such a pretentious asshole whenever I explain it now. Why'd I do this to myself? What? Are you stuck? What is happening to me? What is that? Alright, let me save and quit the main menu. Save and quit to that. Save and quit the main menu. Bubbles is to mentally debate whether to allow that message or not. That's fair. That's fair. Oh wait, I just saw Bubble added permitted to bestiality. Jesus Christ. Let's create another gun. Would be me. Oh, there's a new loading screen. That's nice. Alright. This is the lobby code, kids. I kinda, you know what I fuck with? You know what kind of shit I fuck with? What kind of music? Hold on. Y'all ever heard of Tomodachi? The exact reason why I ever got a Nintendo DS. Yeah! Oh, it's so loud, I'm sorry. There we go. It's half my volume. Also, boss, check DMs. Okay. Wait, dope. With dish. It's fine, I meant. Oh, I should have read it out loud! What is this? That was another video. Did you edit another one? What the fuck? Ah, it's cute! Are you Spider-Man? Oh my god, that's so cute. Wait lang. Wait lang, let's put this up on the fridge, and by fridge I mean I'm gonna put it on screen. Hopefully it doesn't fuck my OBS up. Boom, 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 boom. Well done. We have yet another creation. Oh my god. I hate it when it does that. Don't dox me. Look at these. Oh, there's no audio. I forgot. Anyway, look at this. Oh, 1080p. Wow. Wow. That's so fucking cool. Wait, stop. Look at that. Look at it. Look. I said look. Jingle. Jingle, jingle. Isang jingle lang. One jingle. Look. Look at it. You looked at it? Good job. Bye. No, but for real, that's so cool. I love the lighting. Holy shit, I wish the nether actually looked like this. You did not plant trees in the nether. You said you were like, this is inspired by a real build, right? You did not. Right? Right? Can you plant trees in the... Can you plant trees in the nether? Trees will grow. Oh, what? I'm so old. I did not know that. Damn, the more you know. Crazy. Alright, I should get out. I should get out of that. Wow, look at the lighting! I did download a new mod. Look at it. Where it adds, I don't think Shocks can see these, but like it adds like various light sources. And I added a night cycle, day-night cycle, so it's so nice. It's so nice. I love this game. Good job, developer. You're doing your best. Oh fuck. I didn't mean to do that. I might turn off the fish chance thing, it's kind of distracting. Anti-lag. Current fish chance disabled. Disabled. Alright. Oh fuck no! Hey Shocks, I'm sorry, I pressed quit. I'm sorry. I pressed quit. Sorry. Wait, what was the name of my mod thingy? How do I turn it on? R2 mod man. I'm sorry! I'm sorry. Yo, official Minecraft server? Oh my god, yeah. I got the mod pack ready. If there's any mods you come across that pique your interest, Fabric or Forge, let me know. I was thinking, yeah, we were discussing about Minecraft and whether or not we would be able to make a server for this server. How I would do that, maybe. Would it be a good idea to make it modded? On the one hand, I want to make it modded. Right? So that you guys can use your custom models or anything you've got in store, specifically Shocks and Star. Or anyone else that would like to show off. Boast. Thank you for the follow, Fishy. I like your name. I like your name, Alan. But would that limit other players? I want to make it as accessible as possible, that's the thing. I am relaunching webfishing, by the way. I want to make it as accessible as possible. Would it making it modded make it more difficult for people to join? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know anything. Like I was thinking about those with cracked P-launcher. How much is Minecraft? Minecraft price. Just tell me how much it is. Oh my goodness, it's not... Where is it? What? How much does Minecraft cost now? Minecraft Classic? What do you mean free? Minecraft Java Edition or for Windows is $30. They're around $30. I am willing to put in the investment, but what about other people? You know? Okay, one more time. 3 times the charm. Isa pang server. Teka lang. Wait, please, please. Sabibi. Habibi. Habibati. Chuck says all other players would have to do is download the pack. Hello, I'm back. What's the scuff counter at? 0! Do you guys want that? Do you guys want that? I can actually make that for you like right now if you want. A scuff counter that you guys control if you want. T-Launcher users would just have to download the .zip file of the mod pack. Oh, that's excellent. That's great. That's what I wanted. Why am I so blue? I don't like it. Oh. Anyway, we're back. Hi, what is the code? What is the fucking code? It's yud. Alright? One more time. Shit. Lobby code. Wait, you guys can't hear my keyboard. That's boring. There we go. Fuck yeah. Anyway, it's YDYUUH. Let's go. One more time. I have to set up every single time. Bucket, get the other bucket, and then we put down the blanket, and then what are those spots? A little fire. Yeah, cozy. Oh, I like. Oh my gosh, and a beer. 3rd time's the charm, exactly. I was almost gonna press R and fuck myself over again, but I didn't do that. Oh, guys, I've been trying to learn 3D modeling all day. Still have a lot to learn. Are you using 3ds Max? Are you using 3ds Max? I have to know. Still have a lot to learn. Mind if I send some stuff in DMs? Not at all. Not at all. Oh, Jay sent me more stuff. What is this? Oh! The animation was short and didn't show a lot, but I ended up sculpting a lot. Dude, you could use this for so much. You could use this in your, like... Oh my god, he modeled the entire... Did you model the entire nether? Damn! Dude, you could use this in your videos. If you just want B-roll. That's something that I had a gripe with, specifically. I wanted to make videos, but... I find more joy in using pre-existing clips and editing them together rather than having to make those like from scratch. But if you have like pre-existing 3D models, I envy 3D modelers so much because they had assets they could use, essentially faking or like producing your own B-roll, if you know what I mean. But if you're like a 2D artist, you gotta draw that shit frame by frame. Ew. That was just animation, fuck. Not the doggone animators, they're magic, they're wizards. I'm still so blue. I clash, I don't like it. How do I make it stop? There we go. There. Is that contrasty enough for Twitch's thumbnail? Did someone say 3D modeling? Yeah, we have to use 3D Max. 3ds Max only, not allowed to use Blender. But why? But why? Even when I was working at the studio, like an actual like game dev studio, I don't know about other industries, we were suggested to use Maya. Maya. Like for professional work. Why 3ds Max? 3ds Max is the standard for like, isn't it VFX or architecture? Like super high level shit. Maybe they're setting you up to do that. Maybe. I don't know. Shox is levitating again. Bubble says I did not model the entire nether. No, that would have taken so long. It still looks so good. It looks like you did. That's all that matters. Am I right? Am I right? I am right. Yeah, there's so many tutorials for the others, but not 3ds Max. Exactly, what the fuck? Weird. It's just weird, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know how to stream anymore. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. What do I talk about? I don't have legit, you guys have seen the document that I showed yesterday. I usually have talking points. I have nothing. What do I talk about? No one chased me down the street today. My dog didn't shit on the bed today, this time. I don't know what to talk about. That darn economy, huh? Shit. I'm dying. I don't know. You know, let's just chill. Let's not force it. Let's just chill. Vibe with the music. Oh wait, you know what? I know what to do in the background. I'm gonna make a scuff timer. A scuff timer? A scuff counter. That'll be fun. How to make a scuff counter. You mix it up. Users, Twitch bits, Trovo spells, crowd control, stream pass, games. Where's the counters? I guess I have to make it a command. New command. New command. Scuff. Scuff. Scuff counter. I don't know. You know what my mind is on? It's not on streaming. It's on the fucking comic strip that I have to make for homework. I really gotta say, I take for granted how much free time I have. My homework is a comic strip. I'm not doing algorithms, I'm not doing logarithms, I'm not doing any isms yet. I should be thankful. I should be thankful for this piece, for this boredom. I made a little model today. I just sat down with one of those, it's not Gundam, but it's like one of those like it's like Gundam, but it's not Gundam, you know? The assemble it yourself kits. Got one of those. Cause I bought one for my brother. And I bought one for myself. It's good for art modeling. It's just like a little mannequin. I recommend for anyone who wants to draw humanoids. Just get a cheap 3D printed model, or if you have a 3D printer, just make one yourself. And you can make a little mannequin. It's nice. He's just sitting there. Right next to me. He's cool. Cool little guy. What the fuck is that? What is that? Oh, it's a green screen. I don't know where you get the fly mod, Shucks. Oh, he's gone. What? Oh, what the fuck? Teleportation. Hello, Stinkeroo. Hello, Baron. How you doing? Oh yeah, send the stuff in DMs. They're very unfinished. No prob. No prob. What this? Oh, so you had a sketch that you were trying to copy. Is that Komi? That's just Komi. That's just Komi-san. I've seen your bag, Shrine. Oh, it's kind of cute though. It is kind of cute though. What does it remind me of? Oh, it reminds me of Coraline. I was gonna say. Little plum of Coraline. He's cute. Oh my god, I fucking love this song. I fucking love Tomodachi Life. I don't know how to express it. I was so into Dan 2DM. He was the first YouTube obsession I ever had. I don't know. Also, look at Komi-san. She's cute. She's just tiny. And when he played Tomodachi Life, I don't know if that was his emo hair phase. I don't know. Man, I hope he's happy. I hope he's doing well. I'll put this here. Little cool. I need to fix the hair. I don't know how you would, because I imagine this must be insanely difficult and tedious in 3ds Max. But good luck. Alright. Might as well actually play the game now that I think about it. It's just called Fly Fishing on R2 Mod Manager. Oh. See, I don't want to quit the game, but I kind of want to quit the game. Fourth time's the charm. No, we're gonna stick with it. We're gonna stick with it. Mm. 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. Just in case we want to draw later. I don't know what I would do, though. Where do you have? Never mind. I have 9. Christ. There we go. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Oh right, I was coding a counter. Hold on. Scuff counter, scuff. Okay. Counter, create, save to file. Counters folder. It exists. Utangina. Oh my god, y'all. I still have the health bar. I still have the health bar from Detroit Become Human. Holy that fucking marathon stream. I still have it. I wanna delete it, but I put so much effort into it. It feels like an offense. I don't want to. But every time I look at it, I get flashbacks. Counter name. Scuff. Action. Update 1? I guess? I don't know how this works. What? Do I need to make an overlay? Ew. No, I don't want to make- I don't want to! Because they fuck up my, they fuck up my OBS a lot. How the fuck do I make a counter? Wait, no, I can just download one. I just realized I can use the community commands. Hold on. One more thing with the MZ server. If it does happen, would you want proximity voice chat on there? Maybe. 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 Let me think about it. Boga says, oh yeah, speaking of shrine, I sent my updated shrines in DMs. You actually have. You have a shelf dedicated. Oh my god, you actually do. I was talking about your bag shrine. Oh my god, damn. You have an actual shelf. Damn. I want a shelf. I'm more amazed by your shelf than your fucking shrine. Your shrine is very impressive. That's really nice. That's really aesthetic. But I want a shelf. Oh man, sana all. That's nice. How do you clean it when it gets dusty? Jay with proximity VC, good times. Do you think Baldur's Gate has proximity VC? Also, we do have an ad upcoming. I have to replace the Ita bag shrine. The old one broke. Oh, you clean it with a makeup brush? Oh, nice. Industrious. If only it did. It doesn't? That would be so funny. Imagine if someone gets pushed off a cliff. It's just like, no. There has to be proximity chat, voice chat, voice chat. Yes, Baldur's Gate. Is there such a thing? There must be. Baldur's Gate 3 proximity voice chat mod. This is a. Is there a mod that gives the game an in-game proximity voice chat? Blah blah blah. I don't believe so. If I had to suggest, just have each person in a separate Discord channel, and then join the respective channels when in proximity. That is such a hassle. That is such a hassle, man. When was that? September 2024. I don't suppose that was enough time for someone to develop. That sucks. Man. Oh. Banger. I'm committed to the bit, but that's a lot of work. What if you forget? That's the thing. Super inconvenient. Man, I want to play Baldur's Gate. Community commands on mix it up. Death counter. If I steal this death counter command. Command type. Let's make it a chat command. What is it called? Scuff? No, I deleted it. Okay. And then impromptu BG3 stream when? I was gonna say now as a joke. Ngayon. Joke lang. Let's just chill. This is nice. It's relaxing. User roles. No. I'm gonna make the scuff counter available to everybody. If user is follower is true, then you guys can add scuff counter. The command will be scuff death counter all args equal plus, so it has to be scuff plus, scuff minus, scuff set. Okay, interesting. I know how to read code. Holy shit. Chat message. Sebi stream has been scuffed? Has scuffed? Has been scuffed. Has then scuffed. Will scuff. Scuffed. What? How do I word this? Sebi stream has scuffed. Has. What? How do we call this? Do it, you won't. Bet. Bubble. Gising ka ba? Are you awake? Just kidding. I don't wanna trouble. But like, can you imagine? Sebi stream his heads scuff counter times. Just scuff counter name. Scuff counter. This should be fine. What? Scuff counter set arg2. Oh, I don't know how this works. Save. Okay, this should work. This should work. There are 3 functions. Okay. Scuff set 1. Does it work? Huh? Huh? Wait. Scuff plus. Bitch! It doesn't work. Fuck. Wait. If you wish you can use stats, say blah blah blah. Then what happens if I just type scuff? What the fuck? Oh, there's an ad in progress. Okay, well let's. I mean, nothing's happening naman. Nothing. You're not missing anything naman. Oh, I heard my name. Wala naman. Wala. Joke lang. I'm just joking about how. Ano? I don't remember. Fuck. I'm just joking about how. Let's play Baldur's Gate right now instead of next. I was not saying anything. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna spoil. Oh my god, they're gonna play Marvel Rivals? What the fuck? My friends are gonna play. Are you listening? Hey, I know you're here. If you're here, if you can hear me, Wallace, you're gonna play Marvel Rivals without me? Wow. I don't play the game. But wow. I don't play the game. I don't know. I have this like instinct, like when it comes to popular shit. I don't want to touch it until the popularity has died down. I don't know why. I really don't know. I guess I just don't like the pressure. I don't like being told what to do. What was I doing? Oh yeah. Commands, scuff counter. Permissions. All. Yeah, all. User. Save. Yeah. This should work now. Scuff plus. Putang ina mo. Why is it not working? Spoiling shit like Tom Holland. I would never be able to join any sort of organization. What do you call it? What do you call a group of VTubers? What do you call VTubers? Corporation. I would never be able to ever join a corporation when it comes to streaming because one, I'm not advertiser friendly. I don't think at the very least. Two, What happened to my camera? My eyes are open. Why are they making it close? YouTube Studios racist. Man, I'm playing Rivals as we speak. Oh! What? Are you playing? Are you playing with other people? I feel cheated on. How dare you? Sucks as I feel that, but I'm also just waiting for my man Ultron to be playable before I invest any times. They have Ultron? You're playing with what? You guys suck. I'm here web fishing. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi skill issue. It might be, dude. That's why I was asking. Like, are you able to play Marvel Rivals with your current Wi-Fi? Legitimately. Genuinely, I'm not trying to dog on it. Why is it not my user is follower? It's true. Okay. All arguments. Scuff counter update +1. Scuff counter. All arguments. Utang ina. That's why. Scuff counter set art2 text. Art1 text. Should work. I don't know why it's not working. You want out, Winter? I hate mix it up. It does not work. God damn it. Okay, what if I save it? What if I do death? That doesn't work. Oh, I should turn off the Q command since we're not doing a... Do you guys want that to be a regular thing? I apologize for calling you out. You're not pressured to answer, but I was thinking, should music streams be a regular thing? Chris? Sorry. Sniffle tots? Chris, the fuck you doing here? Kumusta? Yes, it should be a regular thing. Koi. Also, shucks. You're having another seizure. What was I doing? Jesus. Your goods. Why are you here if you're goods? What? There has to be, something has gone wrong in your life if you come back to this. What game is this? Web fishing. Mura lang, 178. I'm not sponsored. Mura lang. It's cheap. It's just cheap. I'm just programming in the background, but it's not working. Command type. Timer, action group. Chat. Okay. Command editor. Oh. Oh. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Just wanted to watch and support a friend. Wow. I haven't seen you in like a year. Nah. Wow. What the fuck? Let's go, shucks. Nice. The lag is bad. You should play web fishing. Just play web fishing instead. No, but no hard feelings, Chris. I already asked Musta. Good to see you again. Thank you. Thank you for the support. You should just play web fishing. Just get you and what? Get web fishing. It's super lightweight on your system. You have no excuse. I'm gonna look for a different counter. In fact, I'm gonna show this on stream. Why not? Okay, I'm doing this. So. Death counter, roll the dice, coin flip, roulette, like the stream. What this? Imagine having money that's crazy. It's a burger! It's a burger! Come on! One burger lang! Counter. Conditional mod check. Well, end. User role. Boom, boom. What the fuck? I know, I'm aware at this point I'm just using web fishing as a streaming background for just chatting. But you gotta admit, it's a pretty genius move. I don't know. User is follower. Then equals true. Conditional add all arguments. Continue add. Sure, leave it like that. Leave it. Oh shit. Let's leave it like that for now. Scuff counter. This is the same as the other one. What? Chat message. Streamer has scuff counter times. File read write. What? Remove specific line from file. What? Open. What? New. Alright, I'll make a new file. This would be a counter. Fuck. Counter.text. Okay. Parent identifier name. Special identifier. I don't know what these mean. I don't know what these mean. I don't know what these mean. I'm gonna hope and pray. I don't understand. Okay, did it work? It's mix it up. Did it work? I don't know how it works. I'll play web fishing after rivals. Let's go! It's not free. I'm sorry. I have to make that clear. Commands. Okay, it says I should write counter plus. I like this music. What? Streamer has done insert for text here. Conditional magic, conditional add. Blah blah blah. Oh! Wait. Wait. Everyone shut up. Hold on. Wait. Community commands. Let's go back. Death counter. There are 3 functions of the command. Exclamation with death plus. Use death as basic number of deaths that have been counted in the session. Only mods and streamer can change the count if you wish to keep the death. What? So, come on, think. Understand. Shit. Death set number. Okay, so theoretically, if scuff counter, Why am I doing this to myself? Scuff counter. Fuck. Scuff. 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 Scuff counter. Scuff. Alright. Why is it 1? Scuff plus. Scuff plus 1. I hate everything. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Fuck that. Let's put that away. I want to play web fishing. Okay, enough. There we go. What has Sharks been saying? I'm sorry, I'm quite late. Who joined the game? What was that? It would appear all player animations are bugged, but I haven't the slightest clue why. Is it actually? Why is there a blank player? That's creepy as hell. They hissed at me and left? Weird. What the fuck? Wait. Ugh, I wanted to turn auto-click on. I keep pressing my shortcut keys. Me when coding. Dude, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't. I really don't. One more time. I feel bad if I gave up on it on stream. If I started showing it, I might as well follow through. Alright. Alright. What am I doing wrong? There has to be something... There has to be something that's not lining up. Name scuff counter. Triggered by typing scuff in chat. Alright. The permissions are fine. Timeout is fine. No currency. No rank. No inventory needed. No argument. I think? None of that. Settings. Delete chat message. Okay. One by one. Add clause. Let's just do and. User is follower is true. If user is follower is true. Conditional add. All arguments. If all arguments equal plus, scuff counter gets updated. Right? What? I caught something. Shit. Oh, that was my bucket. Oh, nice. Nice. Alright. Come on. I don't know why I do this to myself. I'm essentially giving myself more homework. Update action. Update +1. Conditional sub. Counter sub. Scuff counter. Counter name. Only letters and numbers. Update. Thank you for the follow, Alita. I don't know what you see in me, but I appreciate it. Something is wrong. Conditional set. If all arg1 text equals set. Scuff counter set arg2. Why is it arg2? Oh, okay, arg2. Yeah, okay, I get that. So what am I doing wrong? Sebiiroo stream has said scuff counter. Okay. So like So like, I think I'm missing channel, chat, commands, events. Events? No. Timers? No. Action groups, community commands, currency rank, inventory, Twitch channel. They don't tell you how much reading comprehension you need to do for like programming shit. No one ever says that. Why does no one say that? Twitch bits, stream. I'm reading without glasses also. Stream bits cards. Counter controls, stream pass, redemption store, games. There's no counter here. Game queue, command history, services. Wait, I still have the Detroit shit here. How did I do this before? Let's say when you guys attacked me. Special identifier. I have to set the special identifier. Do I? No, I don't. I'm confused. Users followers true. What if I just delete that? What would happen? Would anything happen? No. Ow! Ow. User is follower. User is follower. I'm searching this on Chrome. Mix it up. I can't back out now. I know this is boring, but I can't back out now. If I back out now, everything for the past 15 minutes has been up for naught. Okay, I need to do this. What do you call it? What do you call it? User is follower. I'm doing it right then. I copy paste this. User is follower. User is follower. User is follower. User is follower. My god, that's loud. Is it too loud? Is it too loud? Sorry. I'll lessen the volume. There you go. Hi Vanilla, musta? Hi Sel. Can I say Sel? User's follower is true. Scuff counter. Putang ina. Save. Scuff. Wait, is it actually really loud? Let me try again. I have the volume. Ow. I don't know why I did it twice, but how was that? Was that fine? The bonk was kind of loud. I'm on headphones, so it's louder than normal. No, I'm on headphones too. I just have my volume really low because I like hearing my voice, so that I'm sure that I'm talking out loud. Does that make sense? That sounds crazy. I like hearing my voice because it assures me that I'm actually talking. I've been fishing this whole time and failing. Yes. You got this, Sebi. I'm trying. It's a lot better. Okay, hallelujah. I'm glad. What happened to my pixelization? I was cool. Ah, fuck it. Let's leave it. Does it work? Okay, scuff one time. Scuff plus. Scuff plus one. Fuck. Scuff plus one. Scuff plus one. Puta! What am I doing wrong? I don't know. It updated, didn't it? It was 0 before. I don't know. I don't know. What about scuff set 2? Wait, Wait, what if it's because I don't follow myself? Is it because of that? Add clause. If user is follower or if user name equals sebiiroo. Save. Scuff. Scuff plus. Fuck. Scuff plus. I did it! That was so genuine. Had empty no thought says Twitch volume was kind of low for me and I'm already max, but still low for some stream. Oh. That might be on your side. That might be a you problem. I hope it gets fixed. I did it! Yay! I'm legitimately proud of myself. Like, why doesn't it work for me? That doesn't count as scuff, so I'm gonna reset it. Scuff set 0. Fuck. Scuffs. Stop. Wait. Scuff. Oh yeah, it worked. What the fuck? That still worked. Yay! I did it! That's so genuine of me, legitimately. Oh my god. Oh my god, I did it. Yay! Yay! Putang ina. That took so long! Shit! That took so long. I'm proud of myself. We made it. We made it to the end. We're here now. Let's play some fucking web fishing. Holy shit. Resume. Turn off all that shit. I did it. I'm proud of myself. I'm gonna draw something to celebrate. Alright, alright. BRB, I'm gonna get that day and night cycle mod. It's too pretty. You should. You should. Valid excuse. You are dismissed. Actually, wait, that's a good time. Wait, that's good timing. Wait. I'm leaving. Wow! It's so pretty! It really is pretty! The main menu! Wow! Let's wait. Let's create a game. Let's make it public this time. For intrigue. I don't know. Great game. 4 times the charm, baby! And then I'm gonna change the music, because this is some... Oh! Perfect. Perfect timing. This is some clown shit. Jazz music. Piano. You know... Wait. Don't give me an ad. Fuck. You know, yesterday I was kind of panicking. I thought I had ruptured my throat. Does that make sense? I was panicking because in the middle of talking on a call, I felt my throat hurt all of a sudden. But it felt like there was like a scratch on the side. Legitimately? Like something had opened up. Is that TMI? That's probably TMI. My bad. But like, my throat, it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt. It just felt like something was broken. That was legitimately scary. This is legitimately scary. Why is it so dark? God damn. Wait, I should have put... Wait, one more time. 5th time the charm. I forgot to put times. Talkative? Grinding, yes. Chill, yes. Hardcore? No. Modded, yes. Yeah, I think. No, not necessarily. Anyone can join. You don't have to be modded. Fishing for web. No, what's a good name? I don't want to like... I don't want to make it related to the fact that I'm streaming, because then that'll just attract people that wanna wanna be like, oh my god, hey YouTube. No. I don't know. Okay, when in doubt. Perfect. Her shooting stars are quite what? At paw print oh. 5th time's the charm, baby. Low-key same last night. Couldn't sleep because it felt like something was wrong with the back of my throat. I don't know what it was, but it stopped, thankfully. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Is it an epidemic? I was so scared that I had, like, ruptured something. Like, I legitimately broke something. And I wouldn't be able to stream today. That would be sad. This is so cozy! Damn! Look at it! Wait. I'm ruining the atmosphere. I'm ruining it. I'm ruining it. There. Wow. That's so nice. Warm light. Wow, look at that. Holy shit. Always worry about shit like that because I fear it's permanent. Actually, yeah. Actually, the only time I was right about that shit, I was right about being paranoid, was about my jaw. Like, I thought that would go away, but no, it's still clicking to this day. Everything else? False alarm. We chill. We Gucci. We Prada. We Balenciaga. Let's draw something. Welcome Sharks when he comes back. What? Wrong color. Yeah. Oh, that's scary. Alright, we keep that. And then we just relax in the dark. In the night. Wait, let's move to a different spot. Let's make it, let's see what else there is to see. What this place looks like. Wait, I forgot to say. What this place looks like at night. Damn, I like it. Holy shit. I like it. If only there was a lamp on the pier. That would be nice. No, maybe the best place to fish was back at spawn. I don't know. Let me sit under this lamp really ominously. Yeah. Me with tinnitus been like 3 years now. Dude, that's the same amount. I think that's around the same amount of time for my jaw. Felt chronic conditions. Absolutely felt. Lobby code. 5th time. Why not? Fuck! Why? Let me type it, please. Lobby code. Is my keyboard? I see that my keyboard is very loud. I'm sorry. There we go. That's the last code, I promise. I promise. Ah, wait, the mushrooms glow! Oh, this one. Oh, this place is nice. This corner of the map is nice. Alright. It's kind of scary. I don't know. Wait, if I just wait. Scary ambience D&D. Cause you know that shit's gonna be hours long. Oh my god, there's so many ants! But like, I don't know. What if I make it scary? my god, I don't like this. I don't like that. Shit. Hello? Is this fun? Why is that flashing? What? What the fuck? Sharks. What? What? I'm scared. I'm scared of everything now. I don't like it. I don't like it. Go back. Go back. Go back to Jess. Go back to Jess. Go back to Jess. Yeah. Do you need an ad blocker? I don't know. Every time I use an ad blocker, it stops my YouTube altogether. It stops it from functioning. So I just gave up. I just stopped using them. I don't know. I kind of fucked with the scary music. I kind of fucked with it. I'm not gonna lie. How much money do I have? Do I have enough? 23. I need 35 grand for the new bait. I was like, oh no, it's not 35 grand. Oh, it's worse because it's raining. That's why it's scary. Damn. Oh, oh my god, wait, what if? Wait, I'm using myself now. What if? Shut up, hot dog. What if? What if we lower the render distance? Oh my god. And then... God. Bubble says every ad blocker on Chromium got nuked. If you want one, you have to use a browser that's not Chrome? Aww. That sucks. Oh fucking Christ! That scared me. Is he levitating? Yeah, fucking Jesus, that scared me. Oh, this is kinda, I kinda fuck with this. Oh my god, it's getting worse. Oh my god. Okay, little fox buddy is still there. I see the rat. Gee, I wonder who it is. Gee, I wonder what's on that direction. Gee, I wonder what's in that direction. Why you got an exclamation point mark is the question. How do I get back? There we go. This is spooky. Jesus Christ. If we just go for a walk in the woods. Wait, there we go. We just go for a walk in the woods. Just like this. Ah! It's synchronized with the fog rolling in! I just miss Spooktober. I think that's what this is. I just miss it. But I don't want to go back at all. Oh. Where are we? Like, actually. Where is this? Where is this? Why is it so open? Where are we? Settings. That doesn't answer my question. Oh, we're near the lake. Okay. You love Silent Hill? It does look like that with all the fog. Oh, the pier. The pier looks so menacing. Someone definitely died there. I don't want to go there. Shit. And this guy's like the merchant in Resident Evil 5 Village. Oh my god, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it. But I kinda like it, I don't know. This is not a chill game anymore, I'm scared. I know, right? Isn't it great? I want like a cryptid to show up, like just out of sight. Oh my god. Oh my god, guys! What's over there? Can you say, what's over there in Spanish? Okay. It's so funny with exclamation mark! One day, by the beach, there was a cat named named Shucks. And he was always surprised. What is this? What's this? And he died surprised. To this day, some people say they can see him floating around with the surprise permanently etched on his face. What is this, though? Why can't I collect it anymore? What is this? Whoa, a new creature. You caught a spectral rib. That's... what? That's crazy. While we're trying to be spooky, I found a rib in the woods. Eee! Eee! Oh, what the fuck? Oh my god. Oh my god, did you guys see that? Oh my god. What was that? Fuck. How do I go back? It looks so different at night, is the thing. Shucks. You out here? Some people say, if you go into the mirror, say Shucks 3 times. Oh! It's right there! He'll appear! Oh my god. Let's go! Okay, I'm gonna stop. I want my jazz back. Yay! Oh my god, wait now. Excellent timing, Shucks. Ooh! I just read that as oh whoa, oh whoa, oh whoa, oh whoa. Okay. You feel an otherworldly force beckon you. Fuck that! Fuck that! What the fuck? The timing. It's too bad we're back in jazz and I'm stuttering for shit. Oh my god. That is a bug, that's odd. Alright, back to fishing. What this game is about. I should probably put my idle fishers on. That was fun. Thank god. Nothing actually happened. I mean, oh my god, guys, did you see what happened? Oh my god, remember to like and subscribe! Hit that bell! Follow my Patreon. Subscribe to my... No. I was gonna make an only fishes joke. No. Oh my god. Can we make the day pass? It's so dark, Jesus Christ. Wait, I know how to fix. Wait. Here we go. Why has no one made like a cryptid? No, not like an actual like. Oh my god! I saw the web fisher in what the fuck? I was gonna say Hollow Knight. I was gonna fucking shit. I have a Hollow Knight figure in my test. That's why. Fucking shit. I can't even do bits straight. But why has no one done that yet? That's like prime real estate. This just in. When I was on web fishing, I saw the fish lure. And then he fishled me. Oh my god. Isn't that actually, wait, people post about that on the subreddit, on webfishing subreddit. Hold on. Let me pull that up. Webfishing. Webfishing. Where is it? Oh, it's not trending anymore, so I don't know. My girlfriend ghosted me and broke me up, and I changed my character style and drew the new one. I still hate him. And then they drew their little character. Okay. Oh my god. My heart goes out to you, dude. Oh, I can't find it. Yeah, there's like... Oh my god. Yeah, there's like rumors. Creepy all black cat with scary eyes. Exploiter? Or just someone being weird? I don't know. I miss the cryptid. I wish there was a cryptid. Why is it so dark? Jesus Christ. I wish there was a cryptid in our game. Why don't I ever get like a scary hackers? Why don't I get the hackers that actually want to entertain and like they choreograph themselves? Why do I never get those? Why do I get the ones that just want to take my data for no reason? Why not those? Why don't I get fun hackers? Putang ina. Grincher, he was real? Nah, he's not real. He wasn't valid at all. Why is my tracking so mad? There we go. Sevi, have you heard of From the Fog? Another helicopter Capricorn. I have heard of it, but I don't know what it is. Minecraft mod? Oh no. Oh no. You can't see him, but I promise he can see you. Hold on. I gotta read this properly. Enter a world of fear and mystery with From the Fog, a Minecraft mod that brings the legendary Herobrine to life in a spooky and immersive way, true to the legend. Oh my god, they even have the summoning thing where you put like a 3x3 gold blocks and then another right on top. Oh my god, that's such a blast from the past. Damn. Oh my god, I would fucking hate that. I would fucking despise that. I added that mod to one of my old servers and it gently spooked people off of it. Damn, we are not adding that. We are not adding that. Add it without their look. Add it when they're not looking. Add it when they're not looking. Sharks. No one's looking. Just so you should add it. It's just scared the shit out of people. Replace the Herobrine model with with like a small version of the Sebi mod. Oh my god. Oh my god, I should stop. I should fade out the scary music. Actually, no. You know what? Let's see. Hold on. Oh, I'm trying to check what's going on in the web fishing. Nothing much is happening. There's not much like spooky shit happening anymore. Man. Man. What the fuck? This is... Someone was... Wait, what is this? Try not to get scared. Scariest stories. So I was running from the dock to sell my fish, and the evil bot Fortnite balls showed up on my screen. It's in all caps. Then they came to my lobby and sent me the ring in a letter. I turned to see Fortnite balls running around while talking about the pen that someone gave them. In the end, I think that the truth is undeniable. Fortnite balls has got to be the king. Where's my stance on all this botting stuff? Just check my friends list, because Fortnite balls has the crown. I guess that's an opinion I hold in my heart. What the fuck is this? I was gifted webfishing bling by a legend and I saw the light. See, I guess I just try to believe something that if I really think I see it in my heart, I try and smash the misconceptions about these accounts. Fortnite balls is not a bot, and I will go through any means to prove it. The ceiling of trust is unreachable, cause I refuse to believe all this all these Fortnite ball slander. I'm seeing all these disapproving posts that are reaching from the stars with all these baseless claims. I once saw Fortnite balls play web fishing with my favorite Brazilian Twitch streamer, Sasori. It was so wholesome and nice. Absolute. Oh my god, Fortnite balls responded. Absolute. What the fuck is going on? Am I having a stroke? What the shit? Yeah, the dev fixed most of the security stuff. Ah, that's fair. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. That's absolutely fair. Kind of a shame. Kind of a shame. I'm kidding. It's good that people's data are safe now. What the fuck did I just read, though? What the fuck? I get it. It might be like an inside joke. But oh my god, what the fuck is this? I'm already eepy. It's only 10 p.m. dude. Oh, let's do a time check actually. It is currently 10 p.m. The 19th of June. Hi Shucks, how you doing? Oh, I know why! Maybe, like, your head is like shaking. Because that's the default animation for when people talk. Probably. I guess. Oh yeah, I guess. That took me so long to figure out, I'll be real. That's probably evident already. Only fishes, it's insane. I'm shaking on your screen? Oh no, I feel bad for the dev. That's another bug to take care of, I guess. I feel bad. Damn. Damn, look at this shit. Beautiful. Damn. Add it so I can make a video of everyone's perfectly cut screams. That means everyone has to record locally. Dude, how much storage do you have? I'm curious, how much storage do you have, like free storage right now? Because you need a lot to edit, as far as I know. Oh, you can actually replace the skin with whatever? Fuck yeah. You can stalk everyone? Alright. Good luck with that. Holy shit. I just saw the thing you sent me. Bubble. Dude. Dude, you should make your videos public. I gotta say. I have to say. You just gotta give Bubble spectator perms. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's one way to do it. This is nice. Did I mention this is nice? Very calm. Nothing's happening. I'm not rupturing my throat. It's all peaceful. It's all good. My dog is snoring really weirdly. She's like, Winter, are you okay? I wish you could hear her. Let's put this here. On one hand, if I had spectator brims, I can stalk everyone in free footage. On the other hand, I can't build. Can you not, like... Can you not, like, switch between? Also, I hate everything I make, so the chances of me making it public is all. Why? You hate everything you make, so you want to be someone else's editor? Where's the logic in that? Where is the logic in that? Oh, what the fuck? Dude. I will steal your video, download it for myself, and upload it on my channel. Not your what the fuck do you call it? Your tutorial. You don't know either, man? What's the difference? I mean, I guess the content itself is the biggest difference, but that's not your criteria. Your criteria is if you are the creator. I gotta burp, I'm gonna mute. I'm muted. It's not a bit. It's not a bit. I was talking. I was talking. I was talking. I was talking. I was talking about. Oh, it's so crazy to see when popular streamers stream that they're silent for a full 10 seconds, and I keep thinking, but that goes against all the advice that they give beginner streamers, that you should always talk. And I thought it was all because, like, popular streamers can do that because they're popular. Because, like, people like them even if they're quiet. And I'm not fucking saying anything. You guys can't. Add that to the. Add that to the scuff counter. I never. How long was I? Was it ever since I burped? Fuck. Fuck. Sorry na po, madam. Nandito na po ako. Bakit? You're not forgiven. See, Solio was trying to tell me and I didn't know. I don't. Ain't no way. Shucks, as if it's so surprising that it's out of character for me to accent. Ow, I feel it. I feel it. I feel my throat. Wow. That hurts. That was just a very extended bit, guys. No. Yes! Yes! Sure. Wow! Chloe! Wow! What the hell? Web fishing costs money? Yeah, it does. Oh, y'all are done playing? It's like 178 pesos. I did tell you, but you were probably too busy playing Marvel Rivals. Peaceful. Tranquil. Maybe it's Maybelline. And there is an ad upcoming. Sorry, but I was working on Arctis. Working on Arctis, tapos you were playing on Marvel Rivals? Cap. Cap. Just earlier, you guys were playing. You're lying to me. You lied to me. I don't believe you. I don't believe you broke my trust. How dare you? Oh, salmon. I didn't lie. No, Nwat is lying. Nwat is lying about doing art dish. What? Why can't I? Oh. I'm fishing the land. Where shucks? Furry shit. Oh, there's an ad in progress. I'ma DM what I'm doing? Did he actually? He actually did. Oh, damn. Fucking Canva. Wow, impressive. So you were doing this while playing Marvel Rivals? Wow. Good for you, man. Good for you. Airport terminals. Why are y'all doing airport terminals? No, I just saw the GC. I'm not gonna stream Marvel Rivals. I'm shit at FPS. I'm so shit at FPS. What is this camera angle? What is going on? You played Valo, Youngwood. No, no, don't lie. You're lying again. You're lying. Stop it. Stop lying. I'm not, yeah, I'm not lying. I'm not good at Valo whatsoever. I just have a nostalgic attachment to the game now that, because I played it in the pandemic, okay? I don't play FPS. I just have a nostalgic attachment to the game because of the pandemic. Okay, because of the pandemic. Steam. Wait. Wow, one stream lang di present, galit na. No, I'm not, I don't mind if you're not present. I mind that you're lying. I know Steam has games that cost money. I just thought webfishing was one of the free games. I wish. I also thought it was one of the free games as well. Where's Shucks? Where'd he go? Where did he go? Where did he go? Oh, it was right. Let's have a bird's eye view. What is this? What is this? Oh, that's a piece of leaf. I'm so desperate for spooky shit to happen. I'm sorry. No, 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 no. I don't forgive you. You're not allowed to do that. What do I have anyway? How much of the game do I have left to do? 4% of normal shining glitch. I was interrupted. 4% of normal shining. Come on. What am I missing from normal? What? I'm missing one? What am I missing? What? It says I have 31 out of 32, but there's nothing missing in my Pokédex thingy. My journal. What am I missing? Is it like a secret thing? For freshwater, what's saltwater? 30 out of 32. Even though everything is filled. What? Oh! Wait, that's not like... Oh, I get it. It's for normal rarity. Oh, I'm not very smart. It's probably golden bass. Yep, it's probably that. I get it. I get it. Why would this be normal class in the first place? Why? I have no alpha. Almost no alpha. Only I have one alpha. And it was a crappie. What is this? Oh man. I'm so tempted to min-max again just to fill all these bars out. I don't know. Do we get an achievement for that? We better. That's true, Sebi. Oh, it's so awkward seeing those laid, but it's still kind of funny. Whee! I forgot I can swim. Fuck. I can swim! Oh my god, I was so scared. I can't... What? I can't get up. What? Oh no. How did I get up? Even the rocks! Wait. Am I stuck? Utang ina. Am I stuck? Oh no. I'm stuck. Oh, there we go. Jesus Christ. I forgot we can respawn. That's fair. How did Sharks do it? Yeah! So that implies that when you slide, you get like an extra bit of height. Or is that a false correlation? I don't know. I don't know. Fuck, I wasn't listening. Oh well. Oh, there's another one. A less creepy one. Let's go. Mine has eye bags. Been working the late shift. I legitimately have been working the late shift. I think part of the reason why I'm so quiet now, because I slept at 5 a.m. last night doing my commission. And then I just sent it to my client and be like, here, have it. I'm gonna go sleep. Comment when I'm asleep, please. Oh, God. Was it worth it? I feel like I could have slept. They said there's no rush, but I'm in a rush because I have other people waiting in the queue. I feel bad. Ah. Actually, I should go work on that. I should go work on that. Maybe right now. Maybe. I don't know. No, I'm streaming. Alright. Actually, let's do it in time check. It is currently 10:19 p.m. We did do it. You did just do a time check. But I didn't say how long we've been streaming. We've been streaming for 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 10 seconds. Nice. Nice, let's go. I do think that I have maybe injured my throat a little bit, though. I thought it went away. But thank God this is a more chill stream. But I think something's genuinely wrong. I don't know. I'll have to be on vocal rest for the rest of the week. What is this? Why are you drawing? Shucks, it's dark. Shucks, it's dark. Wait, is it dark for you? Maybe it's only dark for me. I was actually gonna end stream soon so I can work on my homework. But shucks. Let's wait for Shucks. No pressure. No pressure. Shucks, we're just gonna wait on you. No pressure at all. Take your time. Take your time, but we're waiting on you. We're waiting on you and we're watching you. Look at that dual light. Wow. The day-night cycle is client side, sadly. Yeah. No. Go. I said no pressure. I said no pressure. Gosh. Gosh, chill out. No pressure at all. Look at that. Look at that. No pressure at all. I get to chill. I got to lay back. And I get to chill. And I get to stay. I get to chill. There we go. See? No pressure at all. Or chill. Og. Now I'm curious, how long does Iron Mouse stream on average? I know that Doki Bird streams like 3 hours. 18 hours! On Sundays, Iron Mouse often streams for 18 hours between 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. 8 a.m. PSC the next day. Why? On Mondays, Iron Mouse sometimes streams for 13 hours between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. PST. Why? Why is it when people sleep? On Tuesdays, Iron Mouse usually streams for 12 hours between 4 p.m. and 3 a.m. When does she sleep? When does she sleep? How long has the music been muted? How long has the music been muted? I just saw that. What the fuck? How do you stream when you're supposed to be sleeping? Wait, what? Wait. She streams every day except January 18 and January 19. Often streams for 12 hours between 1 p.m. and 12 a.m. my time. Huh. I mean, it is her job. To be fair. It is her job. What the fuck? How long does Shy Lily stream? What the fuck? I can't even imagine the kind of strain on your voice. Wait. What's the average? Peak viewer? No, like hours watched per day. Average viewers per day? No. I'm looking for average per day. Four hours, 6 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. Goddamn! Yes, there was music, yes. Goddamn! What happened to your drawing shows? No pressure! Where is it? No pressure, but where is it? What did you do with it? What did you do? I'm kidding, I'm sorry. What the fuck? That's crazy. Don't worry, Shucks, I'll cover it up for you. So okay, I get it. It's their job. 4 hours is actually really short for someone that is full-time streaming. That is fair. That is super fair. Plus, Mouse doesn't go out very much. I get that. Damn. Who else can I think of? Wait, fucking... Okay, I'm thinking VTuber specifically. Because they have to, like, they have a lot of tech to run at the same time for hours and hours. 15 hours of VTube Studio! Damn! Every day! I want to see her hours in Steam. Holy shit. Who else can I think of? I don't know. Who else is a VTuber? How long does Fillion stream? She has a full body rig. Fillion often streams for 7 hours between 2 p.m. 8 p.m. How do they breathe? How? Is it really just a case where they just build up vocal? Is it like a muscle? Sana all. Damn, but like, oh my god, Iron Mouse's schedule is crazy. Is she on right now? Is she on? Hold on. Back to Twitch. Is she on right now? Of course she is. Of course she is. Holy shit. I could fucking never. I mean, they've been doing it for a while. I mean, that's fair. I just don't know how the, like, vocal cords work, I guess. But that's crazy. Damn! I mean, could I do this shit full time? No. Let's not entertain. Let's not entertain that thought. Let's not entertain that thought. I don't know why, but it feels so taboo. No. It feels so taboo, like me. No. I could not do this shit full time. Fuck no. Ain't no fucking way. Why are you saying no? Do you not believe in me? Why are you agreeing with me? Do you not believe in me? Wow. 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 Fuck you, man. Wow. You said nah. You're not supposed to agree with me. Motherfucker, I've been here since day one. The fuck you mean I don't believe in you? You said nah! What were you saying nah to? Bars. Fuck y'all. Wait, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT. do you think I would... Do you think, with everything you know about me, because he has a memory, right, that I could be able to stream full time? Why? No. Motherfucker really asking AI when she got an audience. Yo, I don't want to bother you. I don't want to bother. It's okay. It's okay. You don't believe in me. It's okay. I don't know. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, he actually disagreed. Wait. I wrote, like, why not, or why... If yes, why? If no, why? Based on everything you've shared, you absolutely have the potential to stream full time, but whether or not you can make it work depends on a few key factors. Oh, I thought he was shooting me down. That's very nice. That's very nice. Man, that would have been funny though. Nah, di ko kaya. Di ko kaya. I mainly for the sole fact that I don't know how I'd be able to manage when people ask me, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" Oh my god, Sebi, it's been so long. What do you do for a living? I don't think I could take that. I really think I could not. No. No. What the fuck do I say? What the fuck do I say? How does anyone answer that? Cause alam ko, I mean, as far as I know, it's really hard to answer that without being like, ooh, you see, like it's hard to say. It's an unorthodox path. Not everyone approves of it. It's like, oh my god, it's so hard to explain too. And usually the people that ask that are older, and they're like, "Oh, what do? You just like, you slack off for a living?" Ugh, shit. It's so hard to explain. I don't know if I could be on my deathbed someday. I don't know if I could be on my deathbed someday and be like, "Ah, yes, my children." I'm talking to my dogs. "My children, come close. Do you think I lived a good life?" And I'll think, Hmm. Mm. Mm. I don't know. I don't know. Not to say that like actual shit. Sorry. It's not ready. It's not ready yet. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. But like, I don't know. That's not in my bucket list. That's not in my my life plan. And I'll think turns into a motorcycle. Like it's so difficult to think like, ah, yes, I lived a good life. I was a streamer. Not to say that people that are streamers can't like live a fulfilling life. It's just me personally. Like, I don't want to deal with my classmates. Like, oh my god, Sebi, you were so smart in high school. Oh my god, you must be doing so much today. And I'm like, I'm a fish for a living. I'm a fish. I'm a fish for a living. No, I can't. I can't look them in the eye. I gotta do something else on the side. I need like a double life. I need something else that I can be like, oh, I'm a janitor. I'd rather be a janitor. I'm a janitor. I'm a masseuse. I'm a blue collar job. I don't care. Something easy. Something easy to explain. I don't want to be like, you see, I'm actually like it's like I talk on the internet because there's this website called Twitch. I talk on the internet to strangers online. Does that sound good to you? That doesn't sound good to me. That sounds like something suspicious. So not OnlyFans, but like that sounds like I'm selling stuff on the black market or something. I don't know. They're like, why are you doing that? Why? It's like a gifted kid syndrome. Like, what are you? After all that, you're doing this now? Damn. I'm sure maybe I'll change my mind in the future. I'm sure I'll change my mind in the future. But right now, I could never. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to. Hi, I'm back. Why is Seb going? I'm entertaining the thought of ever doing streaming full time because I was looking at how much other VTubers stream. And it's like 15, 18 hours a day, every single day, every single day. And I was like, oh, what if what if what if me was what if me was a full-time streamer? What if me streamer? And I just can't live with that. I can't live with that right now. Oh, anak, it's been so long. Kamusta? How have you been? Oh my god, Musta, what do you do for work? I scream into a mic and I harass my neighbors for a living. How do I explain that? I would rather say like radio show host. I would rather say that. No, because then they're gonna be like, "Oh, anak, I've listened. Give me your radio. Give me what channel are you on? You have a or if I say I'm a podcaster. Oh, give me your podcast link. I will listen." And then they say anything. And then I'll give it to them, and they'll be like, "Oh, Sebi. Oh, oh, Sebi. Do you need help? Do you need help? Do you need help getting out of this? Who is forcing you to do this?" I don't know how to explain. I enjoy it, but I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, overthinking it. Yeah, I am. That's why I said, like, I'll absolutely change my. I'll absolutely change my mind. I'll absolutely change my mind. But right now, I couldn't live with that. I couldn't. I want to use my degree for something. Either I use it to actually have a day job, or I go the Code Miko route and I try to develop my stream as much as possible. I buy 3,000 PCs and I line my walls and I microwave myself. Finally, that's how I'll die. That's how I'll go out. Trying to make the ultimate VTuber model. I want to make the metaverse, but better. I want to make. What's that one movie with the really uncanny CGI? Really good CGI though. The one where they go into VR and they're like, "Wow, VR, the metaverse." Ready Player One. Ready Player One. I want to make that real. Can I make that? That's how I'll die. That's how I'll die in a PC fire. Udang ina. Somewhere like, because that shit fascinates me. If anything, if that's what I'm gonna use my degree for. When we introduce ourselves in class, I'm gonna stand up and be like, "Hi, my name's Sebi. I joined information systems because I want to be a fish on the internet." Are you a furry? No. But technically, no. But technically, no. That's what I'm gonna do. There's no other path. Either I have a day job or I become the next Code Miko. There's no in between. There's no in between. I told you I'm not graduating. There's no plan for that yet. There's no plan for that whatsoever. Whatsoever, okay? Fuck. Can I show it? Shucks, hold on. That's like, that's like, how do I move? What? It's me. He's so cute. It's just. Wait, compare. Alright. Watch me cook. There, that's your thumbnail. That's a thumbnail. If I ever had like an actual editor, it's a thumbnail. I'm talking to myself in the future if I'm ever gonna use this as a clip. Wait, she has blush, so. Wow, do I not exist? I don't pay you! Di naman nasaktan. Dude. Dude. I don't pay you. When I pay you, you are editor. Okay, fine. You are okay. I'm scared of the allegations, so he's a volunteer. He's a volunteer. He's not an editor. He's not a mod. He's a volunteer, guys. That way I'm absolved of any blame or accountability. Yes, this is what we want. This is how you be an influencer. You absolve yourself of any responsibility. Oh my god. Said I'm a mandatory unpaid volunteer. Shh. It's given in the word volunteer that you're working of your own volition. Your own volition. Because when you say unpaid, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. It leaves a bad taste. Like, no, you're not underpaid. You're just volunteering. You're volunteering. Skull emoji. I get it. Wait, I should take a screenshot. The fuck am I doing? I have the power of technology. Wait, watermark, go away. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. So cute. He's so cute. He's like a little badge. I volunteer. I volunteer to be paid. Sige. We have an editor now. I'm good joking. I just want work, man, and I want money so I can help. But like, I don't got. Let's wait next month. Shucks. Clap emoji skin tone bar. I don't even need to be paid. I feel bad, okay? I feel bad. I can't. There's gonna be like fucking non-existent. There's like non-existent tabloids flashing in my brain. This just in. Nobody VTuber abuses employee. Unpaid. Slavery. Modern slavery? Question mark. You know? I don't want that. I don't want the journalist in my brain to do that to me. But we homies, dude. Exactly why I don't want to do that to you, bitch. just like, oh my god. I want a burger now. I want a burger. Can I have a burger? Can I get a burger? Legitimately, can I get a burger? Are they open? I could get a burger or I could pay Bubble. Choices! Actually, wait, I did give you the editor role, didn't I, Bubble? Huh. Get a burger, the fuck? Don't you want work? You said you wanted work. You wanted work. You said you wanted work. Imagine getting canceled at 200 followers, that's crazy. It would happen. It could happen. You have no idea. I'm so scared of the internet. Do it for the cloud. I'm gonna abuse Bubble for the cloud. You heard him. Oh my god, Bubble. Let's work together. Let's do this. Hold on. Listen. Let me cook. You, me. Let's stage an abusive boss employee situation circumstance. You go to someone, go to a drama tour and be like, oh no, I've been mistreated. Oh no. And then I get the clout. And I get the attention. And then we split the revenue. And then we blame it on Wallace. Shit. Foolproof. No one will know. No one will ever know. Utang ina. And then I get like, what's the FBI open up? What do you call that? What do you call when the FBI invade your home? Rallied? What do you call it? I get raided. Jesus Christ, I get raided because I get so much hate for online and they're gonna flame me alive. Who does she think she is? I get flamed and then they realize I'm just a kid. I get swatted. Yeah. Why am I the fall guy? I mean you suggested it. Swatting. Okay, it's SWAT. Yes, I got it. Yes. Someone clicked upside down. Shh. No. Shh. Delete that. Yeah, delete. Good. I said good to myself. Well, like, shh. No one tell. Foolproof plan. I get cancelled and we take off with the money. We take off. We make off. We take off with the money. And then I regraduate and I'm like, hey guys, how you doing? I just changed my voice. I can't even do that. I speak with I just get cancelled again. That's you know that's something different. BRB, go lang. Foolproof plan. I want. What is this? What did you send? What am I looking at, Bubble? Oh my god, Bubble, why would you damn! Why would you send me an intricate plan on how to like scam? How to scam people? How to like we would pretend? Oh my god. Guys, I was reading off of the something Bubble sent me the whole time. It was Bubble's fault. Am I doing influencer right? Am I shifting the blame right? Is this how they do it? Do I need a ukulele? No, I'm not gonna start singing. Oh, it's a mountain range. Damn. Damn, where do you get these from? Are these like assets that you get from like other people? Are they like publicly accessible? Scam. Hi, Ginyang. I just assume the more well I speak, the smarter I sound. You sound absolutely intelligent. In fact, let me consult you. How do you feel about being part of a very legitimate operation wherein we cooperate together? I get canceled and you get revenue. How about it? How about it? How about it? Who wants to be the scapegoat? Hey, who wants to? What the? They're just based on my Minecraft worlds. Oh, the Nether animation plus overworld thing was from our server, the Circle server. Wait, how do you host your server, Bubble? Funko. This little guy kept telling me to ask you. Shox does have another option, and someone else I know does have another option. I just want to weigh all the pros and cons. Not it. And Kin Young says, OMG, that sounds like an absolutely eloquent, and might I even say brilliant business plan. Why, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad to see another intellectual in the chat. You know, speaking of which, I did like this improv thing. I was at this improv meet session thing. And it was my first time, and I was panicking the hell out of it. But me and my partner, we were given a prompt and we had to act it out, right? And they were all business related. And our prompt dictated that we were supposed to be a billionaire and a car salesman, like a really, really expensive car showcase, trying to sell and trying to make connections. And I chose to be the billionaire, which is very, very easy. All I had to do was be a bitch. I was just like, oh, hi, hello, you've heard of me, absolutely, right? Yes, of course. I'm just here to buy my 13th plane, you know, I just wanted to pick up a car on the way. People were like, damn, Dubai girl. And I was like, oh shit. I didn't even tell them I used to live in Dubai. I wasn't even thinking. It infiltrated my blood, like, oh, oh, Jellinger chill. Yes, you want a Minecraft server. How many Minecrafts must I buy for that to happen? Oh, it's owned by Mojang. How much do they cost? I'm sure I could buy them out in like under a minute. Where's my check? Let me meet up with this Minecraft person. It's giving Elon Musk thinking, oh, what are these mysterious editors? Oh, Asmund is not his own man. Oh, he answers to the bigger man, his editors. I'm gonna stop. It's so easy to do. Like, yes, I'd like to buy you instead, Mr. Salesman. That was a twist I did. And the host legitimately got mad, like in a joking way, like, you've done this before. And I was like, no. No, I didn't. I was like, no, I haven't. It just comes from like being a wannabe theater kid, as well as like years of watching Markiplier improv clips with his friends. It's just living vicariously through him. I don't know. Also D&D, I guess, but I don't even roleplay in D&D, so I don't know where that came from. I was so confident too. I was like, yeah. I don't know where that came from. Hold on. Kinyan, you give me an idea. Hold on. Mm. Hold on. Brilliant idea. Hold on. Let me cook. Where is it? Oh my god, there it is. Yes. Oh fuck. This wasn't meant to happen. Hold on. There we go. Oh! Sorry. What is happening? What is happening? Stop turning. Stop! Mother. Yeah. That took so long. Yes. My name's Sebi. My name's sebiiroo. What is your name? Never mind, I don't care unless you have money. Oh, oh, oh. This is how smart. That's how rich people laugh. Oh. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. It's getting cold. I'm gonna stop. Oh. What sinigang mix that you consume this time? I don't know, but it's red and it's liquid. It's red and it's liquid. It's very premium. Would you like? I'm just snorting the sinigang mix instead. Smells like your annual salary. Sinigang spicy flavor. Fermented. Not now, kitten. Daddy will discuss this later. Kala ko you were free from that batter. I am! I'm clean! I'm clean, your officer. Officer, please. Oh, Hector, please. I'm sure you can look the other way. I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm gonna stop. Every theater kid is a wannabe theater kid, I feel. What are the credentials is the thing? Like, what? How do you be, like, I was never part of, like, a theater club. I think that's the credential. I don't know. Mm. 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 Bubba says this is just a few of us and I'm the only people. Usually it was just Eternos. Oh, okay, okay. See, because like people were saying like, oh, Eternos sucks. Eternos sucks. Sebi, you are too into this. Because I'm so good at it, darling. Oh my god, that's who it reminds me of! Metaton! That's who it reminded me of! Oh my god. I was like, this reminds me of something. Oh my god, what? Theater kid? Holy shit. Unprecedented. God, you just reminded me of Deltarune in the next few months. What do you mean in the next few months? What do you mean in the next few months? What do you mean in the next few months? Oh, news from Toby Fox for Chapter 3 and Game Maker. The release date is gonna be 2025? Huh? Huh? Oh my god! Oh my god, if it's free, I'm gonna play it on stream. If it's free, I'm gonna play it on stream. Holy shit. If it's free, I'm gonna play it on stream. Let me say it one more time. If it's free, I'm gonna play it on stream. Well, Illustrate says, I was part of a theater club, but I never acted. Am I a fake theater kid? No, if you had the energy. I feel like if you had friends in the club and you had the energy, you're still fine. You're fine. As if I have any authority on it. Isn't there that one VTuber that talks like this all the time? What's his name? Merryweather? Yes. I was like main for 2 plays and a villain? What the fuck? Are there recordings? Di ko naniniwala. I don't believe that. It's gonna cost money? Aw, man. Man. But probably not much. If there is a concrete release date, I'm gonna try maybe to play chapters 1 and 2 beforehand. Maybe. Whether it be on stream or not, I'm not quite sure. Send proof or it didn't happen. Absolutely. 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 I like that I'm drinking it not through the glass and not actually. Look at those. Look at those physics. Damn. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. How big can I make it? Perfect. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Dear Evan Hansen, holy shit. We've been way too out of touch. Things have been crazy and it sucks that we don't talk that much. Holy shit. Ginyang says now the Metathon boss music is just playing in my head and it's a great time. I got you. I got you. Say less. Say fucking less. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I'm getting dizzy. I swear if the music was mute for that. Wait, not were you fucking Evan? I mean, no, I'm not asking if you were fucking Evan. Were you Evan Hansen in Dear Evan Hansen? You were considered? Holy shit! Damn! Holy shit, dude! Good for you! That's crazy! I'm dizzy. I'm dizzy. I sent DM? No shot. No way. I remember this picture! Where are you? I legitimately don't know where you are in this picture. I'm not showing that on stream, don't worry. Likod? I don't know. I don't know what you look like. I've forgotten. Putang ina! Wait, shut up! Sorry. Gosh, sorry. Sorry, that was so aggressive. I'm not an aggressive person. I'm not, I promise. Absolutely not. It's not me. You guys know me. Know me. Not. When would I ever be aggressive? When would I ever? I'm being sarcastic, but you guys, I'm not actually like aggressive, am I? That's not the word I would use. I would use like maybe excitable. Maybe excitable. Maybe excitable. But aggressive, no. I don't think so. I don't believe so. Ew, I did not crop that correctly. Oh, oh, why did I not fix that? Oh, all the rigging's fucked up on my lower eyelid. I forgot I even rigged my lower eyelashes. Wow. 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 Why is this yellow? Oh. What are we doing? What are we doing? I fucking zoned out. Oh, bend. Come back. Christ. How long did this take to rig? That's a good question. It took me a month, I will say. Including the art, it took me a month. And that is a month working every single day. Waking up, working on the model. Go and then like working on it until the sun sets or I have to go to class. And then going home, working on the model. Sun sets, I'm still working on the model. Sun rises, I work on the model. I got carpal tunnel working on this shit. I could not be more serious. It probably took so long because like it was my first model, so I had to learn a lot. I did not sleep. I forgot about that. I did not sleep for like 3 days straight just working on this. Well, technically it's not my first model. This is like, are you okay, Winter? This is like, this is like the final revision of a series of models. But technically they're all the same thing, but I just made different versions for the sake of, you know, convenience. Just out of curiosity, what does my old model look like? Oh! Yeah, I remember this. Oh my god, the head movement is so weird. I like the mouth better on this one. I don't know why. He's like, more colon 3 energy. I don't know. I feel like the head movement is better with this one. I don't know. Oh, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Those horns are not right. No, that's not how that works. But the tail is wild. Out of curiosity, what's the earliest revision? This is the oldest one I have. What's the difference? What is the difference? What is the— oh, the hair! Shit, I didn't even realize. It's just jello. Crazy. It's so weird. Anyway, let's go back. Hi. Oh, it brought back my wine glass. Holy shit. I mean, there's gonna come a day, maybe possibly, there's gonna come a day where I'm gonna look back on this model and I'm gonna be like, oh, weird. Remember when I used to do that? Oh, cute, you know? There's an even earlier one. There was. Oh, my PNG tuber! That was different. I don't have it anymore, unfortunately. I did uninstall PNG tuber plus. I'm not quite sure if I have the files, so... What in the hell happened? What am I looking at? Oh, fucking Christ. I sucks. Let's do this. I miss it. I miss it, honestly. I miss it. That's how people drink wine, right? That's they make really loud noise. How did I make it? I pinned it to the error. Oh, wait, I think I pinned it here. Oh, it looks like I'm swirling it. Cool. I don't know. Why are you jiggling? Stop. There we go. I'm just staring at myself. I'm not even doing or saying anything. Just, this is like the height of vanity. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Hi. Hello. We're back. Hi. I'm streaming. I remember now. I'm streaming web fishing. I remember now. How you guys doing? I've been streaming for 3 hours and 5 minutes. That's correct. Uptime. Thank you, Nwad. It is currently 11:08 p.m. 3 hours. 6 minutes. I don't know way she remembers. Content. Content. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. What's the agenda? What are we doing? We're doing web fishing? We're not doing web fishing. I'm just sitting here and Shox is he's there. I'm gonna lower the music so you can hear him. There. You're the one streaming. Alright, after this ad, let me get my final words out. How about that? How about that? This really reminds me of that other stream where I was freaking out about how neurotypical I was, right? But the big difference is that this time I'm not panicking about it, which is crazy. I think it's good. I think it's character development. I'm proud of myself. Let's go. Hi, Shucks. How you doing? Hello. Why is it still nighttime? I get that there's a day-night cycle, but like, it hasn't been day in so long. Does time pass differently in web fishing? Is this on a different planet? I'm doing great, thank you. I know. I know. I'm doing awesome. No, because minimal shakes today. Now that you guys know about that. Minimal shakes. Let's go. Actually, 0. There were some yesterday, but it's normal. Wait, no, he's not nodding on purpose, I just realized. Anyway, web fishing, streaming. I don't know what to talk about. God damn, nothing much is going on, and sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's better. Shox is disagreeing. Shox doesn't think it's good. Oh, I should probably. Alright, I'll recap what we're gonna do next week. Okay? And that's gonna have to be that's gonna have to be after the ad. Can we? Why is it not done? What? Can it stop? Stream manager, stream summary. Where is it? It should be done. Motherfucker! It's been lying to me. Ad starts in 56 minutes. It's done. There we go. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Okay. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hi. We've been playing web fishing for 3 hours. So now I can look at the jokes. It's high time we gotta wrap things up. So I'm just gonna recap. It was a good time today. We just chilled. It was pure vibes. Like literally. The most chill stream. Good thing I didn't say it was chill in the beginning, otherwise it would have jinxed it. Buting nga. It's good for my voice too. It's been tired. And next week, I'll see you guys again on Saturday and Sunday. Same time, same place, same ocean, same world. Except I'm gonna be playing Baldur's Gate. with the one and only Funko. Joke lang, Bubble. We're gonna be playing Baldur's Gate because our D&D session got cancelled. Bubble! Gising! Bubble! What day? Bubble! Wake up! J. Hi. What day? What day? Saturday or Sunday? Because usually my pattern has been just chatting and then a game on Sunday. But would you rather we play on Saturday? Or, I know, anong gusto mo? What would you rather? What you looking at? I bow to. Hold on. Idea. Hello. We are of the same kin. Wait, no, I'm disproportionate. There we go. Wait, there. Sunday then for your sked, but gives me more time for other projects as a plus. Totally not working on something already. Ano yan? What are you doing? Tapos you're not gonna publish it. Sayang. Okay, you heard him. We're gonna be playing Baldur's Gate on Sunday. Gonna do a just chatting stream on Saturday. Just gonna chill out. Gonna hang out. Be there or don't. As long as you guys are happy. Let me switch back to just chatting. Sure ka, Bubble, ah. Sure ka. Anyway. Hold on. Where's my script? I mean, what? What are you talking about? Alright, so thank you so much for playing or just watching or just listening with me today. Very chill. I gotta thank you guys. This is a moment of peace that I kind of needed. Really nice. And with that, I believe now's the best time to say goodbye. Right, Shucks? He said yes. Thank you so much for giving me your precious time today. But don't worry, I'll see you guys at the end of another week. End of another day. I'm not graduating! And that's the end of this strip. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.